Just 5 days until TNT Extreme's UK's Rock and Wrestling Extravaganza Extreme Fields. Gabriel Kidd makes his emotional return to action. Giselle Shaw, ranked number 19 in the PWI 150 women, as 2 other UK independent wrestlers make the list. We have reviews of Rev Pro UK live at the 229, 54, NXT UK, and the latest ICW Fight Club. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another TNT's Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net. I am your host, the Great British Attacker, Mr. Andrew Moore, Andy to most, and I am joined, as always, by the co-host of the show. He is the Pro Wrestling T-shirt champion of the world, Big Daddy Daniel Allen. How you doing?
I am very, very good. I am enjoying this beautiful Monday morning. So we are recording a little bit later than we would have done normally. I do apologise. That's my fault. And I am excited by all the British wrestling news, especially, and I'm looking forward to discussing the PWI Women's Top 150 because, there's some names missing there.
Yeah, only 3 UK women on the list. We'll get into some reasons why it possibly could have been that way as we discuss that in just a little while. Before we go into that, I, of course, was at First Class Wrestling this past Saturday in Middlesbrough. It was a very fun, family-friendly show. Lots of kids in the crowd once again. Very disappointing that once again, it was a promotion that did not feature any women's matches. So let's just get that out straight away. Again, lots of young girls in the crowd. Would have been nice for them to have a women's match. There were some fantastic wrestlers there, of course. I got to see Screwface Ahmed as he took on Charlie Sterling, and it was an opening of the they had this little mini tournament to crown the King of the Ring and the British champion in a ladder match. But there were 2 singles matches before that, which was Screwface Ahmed versus Charlie Sterling. Fantastic match, 2 of the best in the game. Great heavyweight wrestlers. The second match featured Mickey Long, also known as Mickey Limerick. He very, very technically sound wrestler. A couple of guys who I did not recognize and know. I think Terry Spitfire might have been one of them. There was a young tag team match, a couple of the younger lads. Good. Then there was the ladder match in the end, which was Screwface Ahmed versus Mickey Long, who had qualified to the ladder match. Really good fun ladder match, which Mickey Long won. Then they had a big Royal Rumble, and Charlie Sterling won it.
Love a Rumble.
Love a Rumble, yeah. So 5 matches in total, including a Rumble. I think the tickets were £15. It was a fun night out. It was some good wrestling. As I say, Charlie Sterling's always phenomenal. Screwface Ahmed is a top professional. Mickey Limerick, very good. Young blood Tommy Zane, but he was actually wrestling under a different name. I can't remember the name he used during the show, but he did very well for himself as well. Overall, it was a good show. No women's match. I would have given it 3 sugars, but no women's match, 2.5 sugars. Sorry, it's just I feel there needs to be a women's match these days, and it's very disappointing not to have a women's match on the card.
Totally understand that.
Yeah. But let's talk about TNT Extreme Fields.
Yeah, wow. There has been some serious news this week. How amazing is what TNT Extreme Fields have done? With 5 days to go, that may just be the biggest wrestling show to take place this year. Definitely the biggest wrestling show up north, I'm going to say. We've got an amazing card, which includes Dan Maloney versus Nathan Cruz, Dean Allmark versus Chris Ridgway, Elijah versus Cameron Solis, Nico Angelo versus Robbie X versus Scotty Rourke for the Ultra X Championship. We got Gia Adams and Alexis Holcomb versus the Liver Birds, Lizzie Evo and Angel Hayes. That could be the match of the night, with the possible exception of the next match, the Young Guns versus Lycos Jim, Tom Felwell versus LK Messinger, Clint Margera versus Tyler Devlin for the Extreme Division Championship match, plus TNT Extreme Tag Team Champions, the She-Wolves, Casey and Molly Spartan, will be in action. And then it just gets even more exciting, doesn't it?
Well, you still got the TNT Ignition Champion, Scott Oberman, who'll be in action. And, of course, the biggest, henchest man in all of British wrestling, Big Guns Joe, is going to be in action as well. Plus, as you say, the huge news all last week, the event will also showcase talent and matches from Odyssey Pro Wrestling, British Wrestling Revolution, Wrestle Island, Lancashire Wrestling Federation, and Superstar Pro Wrestling.
And they've given some really great matches as well, haven't they?
Yeah. OPW, Ryan Hunter versus Rick Marcus. BWR, Miles Kamen versus Will Cruz. From the Island, Lucy Sky versus Lance Rivera versus Connor Klein versus Charlie Brennan versus Harley Hudson. And that's for the one-up briefcase. The LWF, we've got Davey Getsky versus Aiton Steele. And from Superstar Pro Wrestling, it's Isaac North versus Barry Pewitt.
I mean, what more could you want from a show? You've got all these live bands, you've got this amazing wrestling, and you've got multiple companies that TNT have invited along to show their stuff. This is a whole day experience, and it's only 30 quid a ticket.
Yeah. I mean, people may argue that you have the Rev Pro anniversary show, you had the Rev Pro High State show, a couple of OGG shows, and mainly because of the name power that they've been able to put together with like guys like Will Ospreay, Big Damo, tons of international talent. But when you look at the cusp of representing British wrestling, I think this has to be the biggest.
I think you're right.
I mean,
I really think you're right.
Live music from Attic Theory, Junior, Only the Righteous, Scare Tactics, Disraeli Whips, and Nebules, plus a huge market square with market stalls. I think Rama Clobber are going to be there, and loads of other different guys just selling merch, all different types. I'm annoyed that I can't be there, but
I'm gutted.
I think this is just phenomenal. I love what TNT Extreme Fit have been doing throughout the year since their return. They've been one of the hottest companies in the UK right now. They're easily, for my money, challenging the likes of Progress, Rev Pro, ICW, that company in Ireland, for high quality and just great wrestling.
And you can see that great wrestling on Powered 4 TV. If you go and have a look, you can see what kind of amazing talent that TNT is booking and the style of matches, because they have something for everyone. They have family-friendly shows under a different banner. They have the TNT Extreme. It's just well worth having a look on Powered 4 TV and seeing some brilliant British wrestling. And of course, it's not the only show this weekend, because I'm going to a show this weekend.
You are, and I've got it in my list down at the bottom when we do our Brit Wres Roundup, because another guy who's going to be going to the show this weekend is our good friend Stephen Southern will be at a show.
Yeah, we're spreading ourselves wide this time.
So hopefully we'll have him back on the show next week, because obviously I'd love to get his thoughts on the show that he's going to. Again, we will be talking about that in just shortly. Let's talk about Gabriel Kidd, though.
Yes, let's.
The young man himself, the great, fantastic Gabriel Kidd, the young bull, the young lion, no more. He is a graduate now of the New Japan Dojo system. He trained at the LA Dojo. He's also trained at the New Japan Dojo in Japan for an entire year. And he made an emotional return to action at a recent New Japan strong taping in the US, in LA. I don't want to paraphrase in any way. I don't want to directly quote because these are his words. And I urge people to go and search out that clip. Go search it out. You can find it on Gabriel Kidd's timeline on his Twitter. You'll be able to find it on the New Japan timeline on his Twitter. Now, I know there is a warning on the video, but because I'm sending people there as well, I would like to make sure that people are aware that there should be a trigger warning as the topic of suicide is in full discussion. Now, I want to try and move away from that part of it and look at the celebration of the fact that Gabriel Kidd has returned. And he laid out a challenge to the former ROH Pure Champion, who now wants to step up to the heavyweight division. Jonathan Gresham recently wrestled here in the UK against Brit Wres at Wrestle Carnival's Pure show. I got to watch that. I'm going to be watching that next week. We'll be talking about that next week. Yes, and he's got that match. He will be facing Jonathan Gresham. And it's going to be, I can't remember what date was given for the match. Bear with me, I'm on his timeline now. So he will be facing Jonathan Gresham on November 15th at the Riverside in California. This will be his first match back. He had kind of disappeared. You'll hear about reasons behind why during his thing. Obviously, Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji have both moved, gone out on their excursions. Yuya Uemura is over in LA, where Gabriel Kidd is now. You also have Yota Tsuji here in the UK, and he's absolutely killing it right now. He had an incredible series of matches against Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji. Again, I really urge any trainees, any young guys out there to go to the New Japan NJPW World. I think it is, yeah, NJPW World, and get a subscription. I think it's a $9.99. Just do it for a month. Go search out last year's G1 Climax, where Gabriel Kidd has a series of matches against Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji that are some of the best wrestling you'll see. I thoroughly enjoyed watching these guys go at it as I followed last year's G1 Climax. They opened every show and just great matches. And yeah, as I say, as a young guy, if you want to study and things, go study these matches. They were incredible.
Yeah.
Do you remember Gabriel Kidd, obviously, before he obviously left to go to the States? Do you remember much about his WCPW runs, his runs in Defiant?
I only saw him in Defiant, but I didn't really follow him that much. I heard the news when he got his chance with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I have not seen that much because you are our Japanese master.
I am the otaku. But that, yeah, as I say, some fantastic matches. Before that, as I said, he was wrestling with WCPW. I was actually surprised they actually decided to send him on excursion. I guess because they have a series of matches beforehand where they fight a lot of the big talents, and obviously always get defeated by the big talents. So they've got to send them away to then bring them back so they can be But I always thought, well, he doesn't really need his excursion. He kind of did his excursion before that because his Defiant run, his WCPW run, he was part of the Rev Pro UK Contenders division.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was he was also part of W World of Sport when he took on the big guy Nemesis a few times. Was his name Nemesis? It was the big guy.
I remember him.
Toxic mask.
I think it might have been Nemesis. I think you might be right, but yeah. Anyway, fantastic. He's back. Can't wait to see his match against Jonathan Gresham. That is going to be special.
Going to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it really is. And congratulations to him for his return. PWI have announced their 150 best women, and we have 3 women from the UK independent scene. Although I can't believe is Session Moth not in there?
She must have been.
She must have been. I've just been Googling, but I can't see her. I know she was in last year's top 100 because it's been up to 150 now. But the 3 women that are majorly involved in the UK independent scene who have made the PWI top 150 are at number 19, Giselle Shaw. At number 42, Kanji. Excellent that Kanji's been recognised. And at number 145, Zoe Lucas. Now that might sound quite high up the list at 145, but Zoe Lucas is a young wrestler. She is coming through and really looking great. And to reach that 145, that is absolutely brilliant. But there should be some more names on there. Where on earth is Lizzie Evo on there?
Well, I think we have to look at the judging period based on the PWI criteria. Now, most of British wrestling did not restart until June-ish this year. So you lost 6 months almost of the year to begin with. A lot of promotions are literally only still just doing their first shows.
Yeah.
So that has to be taken into account. Now, I think the reason why I got Giselle Shaw, Zoe Lucas, and Kanji made the list is because they wrestled for Progress and what was the other one? Progress and Rev Pro UK. Now, Zoe Lucas, of course, did go on to become the Rev Pro Queen of the Ring.
Yep.
Oh, she literally only wrestled 10 times this year so far during the judging criteria period. Kanji had a couple of successful defenses of her South Side Women's Championship in Rev Pro.
And she was out with a broken arm, wasn't she?
She was out with a broken arm for a lot of it. Obviously, she returned with Rev Pro UK. She defended the Southside Women's title against Leah James of NXT UK. And who else? Stevie Turner, at the time, yes. Bobby Tyler of NXT UK. Did any of the NXT UK ladies not make a mix?
No, I don't believe they did.
No,
apart from Piper Niven.
Piper Niven. No, Kaylee Ray.
I'm going to have to see if I can get this back up again, aren't I? Excuse euphemism, ladies and gentlemen.
I haven't been able to find the full list.
I think you have to buy it to a magazine.
That's probably why, yeah. As I say, it's... Yeah, I will have to get the list and go through that next year, maybe next time out. As you say, there's a bunch of women from the NXT UK who really should have made that list. Kaylee Ray, highest among them. I mean, Kaylee Ray, for her run of the NXT UK Women's Champion, for my money, should be a top 10. Yeah, she should just be top 10.
Yeah.
It's PWI. They give, you can't blame them for giving main roster WWE, AEW, and Impact.
Well, there was a huge amount of shimmer, ladies. You can't complain about the mix, really.
Well, you know, how is NXT UK not as high as Shimmer on the
Kaylee Ray got number
considered list?
21.
Oh, there we go, number 21. But no, I think she should have been top 10. She had an incredible run as the NXT UK Women's Championship. Huge ones. Okay, let's think. So there's Kaylee Ray. Who else do we think from the NXT UK, which really should have been in more consideration? I suppose you could count Tony Storm and Rhea Ripley.
At a push.
They came, but they didn't wrestle NXT UK recently, or over the last year or so.
Rhea Ripley got number 12.
Ginny?
Should have been in it. Meiko Satomura got number 27.
Well, we're going to have a little look at this and we're going to go through. We're going to talk now. So out of the UK independent scene, it seems like the only companies that were taken into consideration are Rev Pro UK.
Ethan Valkyrie got 73 and Ginny got 103.
I suppose Ethan Valkyrie had the win over Ginny and probably had a little bit of a better year overall.
Blair Davenport got 127.
Like she might have gone down. I'd love to have seen where she was last year when she was the Stardom Tag Team Champion alongside Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter?
Didn't see her. I've just found a link that's a link to all of the WWE people that were in, which is why I was able to tell you those ones.
Okay, and we can maybe no. That's well, as I say, we will buy it ourselves next, and we will go through. We'll search out every UK person. But let's talk about the independent scene and the fact that, like I said, there is good reasons why Rev Pro and Progress were considered, because they were still in competitive action throughout most of the lockdown.
They were indeed. And at Rev Pro, we did have a women's match at UK Live at the 229, number 54.
Okay, you want to go? Okay, no worries. Results. So on to the results for the this week. We didn't do too many shows. We did Rev Pro UK Live at the 229 54. Sunshine Machine defeated Doug Williams and Brendan White. This was a good opening tag team match. You know, my feelings of Sunshine Machine. I love them and I hate them at the same time.
Yep. I like Doug Williams and Brendan White as a tag team. I think they work together really, really well. And I think they work well as a tag team.
I prefer Brendan White and Danny Jones as the Greedy Souls.
Granted, and I agree with you on that as well, but I think it just works to have the British veteran and the British newcomer.
Yeah, no,
Welsh.
Yeah, he's a Welshman, and but yes, good little tag team. It's, I guess, a way, because Doug Williams was always quite a big lad. He wasn't a small competitor, but yeah, he still was one of the best technical wrestlers, and so a great way for Brendan White to learn that he doesn't just have to be the big Welsh bear that we refer to him as, and so someone to learn off. It was very good. It was a very good match. As I say, Sunshine Machine, I love them, I hate them. They have great tag team wrestling. They have terrible for following tag team rules, though. And, I can't wait till next week. We'll talk about that right at the end of the show. Next up was Debbie Keitel versus Mira Blair.
I don't know much about Mira Blair.
I believe she's dating Michael Oku. Other than that, I don't know too much about her. Young girl, trainee. I think she comes from France originally, maybe. I don't know much about her myself. I'm not one to really, I try to be positive in a lot of my things, but this just wasn't good at all. Really. I like to be like that, but no, this really wasn't good.
When Debbie Keitel came out to be the next challenger for Giselle Shaw, I really was surprised. I'm sure this was just a blip, and that when she comes up to Giselle, it will be amazing.
Yeah, so there was a confrontation because she was going to continue to beat down on Amira Blair afterwards. Giselle Shaw came running down to a little badger. Sorry, that's my dog's just entered the room. And it was a kind of an awkward talk, little promo. So moving on, Michael Oku defeated Chris Ridgway in a Cruiserweight Championship match. This is really good. It's difficult because I want to say that there was a lot of good in this. Chris Ridgway absolutely battered Michael Oku. Seriously battered Michael Oku for about 20 minutes odd. And it didn't feel like it. It was a really good match. Michael Oku's bursts of comebacks were good. He managed to get a roll up on Chris Ridgway as Chris Ridgway went for his kick to steal the win. So they did a lot to try and protect Chris Ridgway in this match. They did a lot to say that Michael Oku, look at him. He takes so much punishment. My issue being here is when it gets to a certain point, yes, you're making one stronger. Oh, you're saying at a certain point, it becomes unbelievable that a person can take so much punishment. And one, I think it devalues the person delivering all that punishment because he gives all of that out and couldn't finish him off.
Yeah, this match doesn't make any sense as far as booking goes. You're trying to protect Michael Oku as a champion against Chris Ridgway. That doesn't work. It's just... why book it?
You're trying to protect Chris Ridgway in a singles match because you want Chris Ridgway to look strong. Because Chris Ridgway Chris Ridgway certainly looks strong against a guy like Michael Oku. Michael Oku is even for a cruiserweight is very small.
Yeah.
But
bad
you know.
booking.
I would say up to about 15 minutes, really into this match, just fantastic. As I say, I think they took it too long. He took too much punishment, and yeah, it lost me on that. But moving on.
At least it wasn't a non-title match.
Yes, at least it wasn't a non-title match. And as I say, taking the sneaky win, I think they tried to do right, but they let it go too much, I think.
Yeah.
Michael Oku versus Akira Francesco then defeated Robbie X in a phenomenal match.
And why wouldn't it be?
Just phenomenal. It's a good chance to really get to see Akira Francesco live at this one-on-one against one of the top cruiserweights of the UK scene. Just a phenomenal match. Both of these guys were excellent, and I think they in this match they did a good job of protecting Robbie X in the loss. So there we go. Next up was RKJ versus Yota Tsuji. Again, this was a really good match. Some really strong parts. Yota Tsuji, though, took a huge, nasty landing at one point during the match off a spinning power bomb from RKJ. He came down kind of on his shoulder rather than flat on his back and continued the match, did a great job. But afterwards, after the match, once the pinfall, yeah, the paramedics were straight to him. And he had to be helped to the back. Obviously, he is fine. I'm not sure if he was at the Southampton show, but he's definitely at the British J Cup. We know because he's taking on Big Damo. So if there was any injury, it couldn't have been any serious injury. Thankfully, RKJ absolutely phenomenal in this match as always. He then called out both Aussie Open both members of Aussie Open because Will Ospreay wasn't there to call out. So he called out them. Then out came Aussie Open, of course. He literally just starts trying to fight both of them on his own. Luckily, the Young Guns come down and start, because the next match was a championship match between the Young Guns and Aussie Open. So obviously, Young Guns came down and started helping out Ricky Knight Jr., who then let them, went to the back, and then the match carried on. So they finally got into the match. Again, Young Guns, Aussie Open. Wow, amazing. Two of the greatest tag teams of all in the UK, 100%. They are just phenomenal, both of them. This was a great tag team match, completely different match to the one they had at the anniversary show in Manchester. Great match. Afterwards, it was a disqualification because Aussie Open ended up attacking one of the members of the Young Guns with a chair to cause the disqualification. They went to carry down the beatdown. RKJ came out. RKJ said, "Look, guys, Young Guns, I respect," because the Young Guns said, "We need to team up." And he was like, "Look, I respect you guys. You put up a hell of a fight here, but I remember just a few weeks ago when you left me laying in the middle of the ring with Will Ospreay. So thanks, but no thanks." And he walked out. Some points that I didn't like about this show, but enough of a lot of good stuff that happened at this show. 3.5 sugars because of the bad parts. So
okay,
let's talk about NXT UK.
UK.
Leah James defeated Zaya Brookside. What did you reckon?
She did, but I just want to say, this episode of NXT UK was only 50 minutes long. I think this might have been the shortest NXT UK in its 3-year existence.
I thought it was quite short. Maybe it was because of all the, they've had quite a few overruns recently, though, haven't they?
They have indeed.
So, making up for lost time.
Okay. I'm not trying to one-up on the pets thing, but my cat is trying to pick a fight with my tortoise at the moment, which is proving to be very entertaining. Right, so yes, Zaya Brookside versus Leah James. Handshake to start, which was nice. There was a great flip reversal from James halfway through. It was a great showcase for Leah James. And of course, she won.
Yeah, well, straight away, she came out with entrance music for a change.
Yeah.
She came out second, not the first opponent for a change. I absolutely 100% adore her new gear. It's just absolutely popping color-wise. And what a match. What a great little match. It was short. It was sweet. It got what it needed to do done, though. Help protect Leah James's new performer still. Yes, she is still learning. It's incredible how good she is, considering how little in-ring time she's actually had. I'm still sure it's under 50 matches.
Definitely.
I'm under 30 matches maybe still. But she is an amazing talent and a superstar in the making. Zaya Brookside lost out when she tried to do her Brooksy bomb.
And it got reversed into sort of a backslide off the top rope.
Yeah, and then into the jackknife cover and 1, 2, 3. And great win for Leah James. Yay!
And at the end, Zaya refused a handshake from James. So is this finally? Finally.
I thought she was going to attack her at first. I thought the hand snap, and then she left the ring. I was like, okay, maybe not. But then when she was looking back at her as Leah James was on the rope celebrating, I thought for sure she was about to come back in and attack her. Unfortunately, we didn't get that yet. I'm sure it'll be soon. But great little opener.
Yeah. We then had a promo from Meiko Satomura. She was training and said that as far as Amel was concerned, she is the final boss.
No, Ginny.
Sorry, as far as Ginny is concerned, she is the final boss. So, yeah, nice basic promo. We then went on to have a promo from Kenny Williams, who's about to show how low the scum of the earth will go. I'm liking Kenny Williams as the scum of the earth.
I am. But I can't see him going on to too much.
I can't either. I think he will be staying mid-card, but I still think he's got a lot of potential to be a thorn in somebody's side.
I like the character. Yeah, I like the character.
Yeah. Stars and Mastiff versus Symbiosis was next, with Pretty Deadly on commentary.
I like Pretty Deadly on commentary.
I like Pretty Deadly on commentary. They were there primarily to take the mickey out of the commentary team.
Andy Shepherd.
Yeah, he got a lot of abuse during this. Right, so they gave Jack Stars so much opportunity to shine during this match, didn't they?
Yeah, obviously he was one that isolated. He opened the match strongly. He got some great offense in. He looked really, really good. But I still don't care for Mastiff and Stars. They just seem like a thrown together tag team because they've got nothing better to do with two people on their roster. And
I'll be honest with you, for me, it was actually Tyson T-Bone that was the standout.
Oh yeah, he looked great.
He really did.
I just, yeah, they're just building Stars and Mastiff to get beat by Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, the match ended with Eddie Dennis grabbing a chair and attacking Stars and beating him down, with Symbiosis attacking as well. Obviously, this was a 3-on-2, and as far as wrestling maths goes, a 3-on-2 doesn't work. So out came Smith and Carter to make the save. Pretty Deadly were quite good on commentary, explaining why this was absolutely appalling behaviour.
Yeah, I thought so too. Wasn't even their match. Why are they going?
We then had promo with Mel saying that she won't make her same mistakes again, which is why I made a mistake and thought Mel was on the previous promo. We then had promo with Charlie Dempsey. He's looking forward to building a legacy. Gallus came and took the mickey out of him and then got into a fight with Tearman and Rohan Raja.
Yeah, now this is something we didn't think about as a new member for the family. But my God, he would suit for that family.
Yeah, but he wouldn't, because he is brand new. He needs to be built.
Yeah, he's brand new. You build him in that. You give him a lot of showcase as a thing. You eventually have them use him as their scapegoat for losing certain times. And you've got a perfect turn opportunity with a great storyline for him to come out with. So I think there's a great progression here. I plus his wrestling style suits the ethos of Tearman. I think he is perfect for Tearman's family.
I will give you your argument is valid. I just disagree with it.
Well, give me the reasons why you disagree with it.
Because he has huge potential as a singles wrestler. He has only just come through. He can be a complete tweener. I think he needs to be built on his own rather than getting lost with Tearman, who is lost with Rohan Raja, who had all of this great things coming through and has done bugger all since.
He did pick up that nasty injury, and I think he's actually just returning to action kind of now. His first match, so that'll be why he hasn't. But he has featured alongside Tearman a lot. This will give all three of them more camera time because you can have all three of them out at different times on camera. But yeah, okay.
We then had the first Supernova sessions where I didn't want to turn off my telly. You disagree. Okay, yeah. I like this. Supernova sessions, out come Noam Dar and Shah Samuels, and out come Mustache Mountain, and they basically tear into Trent Seven the whole time, accusing you of riding Tyler Bates' coattails. Noam Dar is very nice here. He offers Tyler Bates the chance to just relinquish the Heritage Cup, the Hogwarts Cup now, rather than having to go through the match, which was great. He says that Mustache Mountain are too focused on being a tag team to focus on the Heritage Cup. And then Dar sucker punches Bate. I absolutely loved Shah Samuels in the background here. You're stuttering and muttering, you mug.
Yeah, I see Trent Seven costing Tyler Bate the match.
You think it's finally going to happen? You think we're finally going to get the breakup?
I don't think we're going to get a breakup. I think we're going to get an accidental or purposely accidental causing Tyler Bate to lose the Heritage Cup. Trent Seven will then convince Mr. Tyler Bate that he needs to forget about regaining the Heritage Cup. He's had that now. Now he just needs to focus on getting the NXT UK tag team so he can become the Triple Crown and they can finally be the tag team champions. And it'll either be not winning them or winning them and eventually losing them before they split. And I think that's the right way. I feel they have to have a tag team championship run.
Okay. And then Devlin beat Coffey because I didn't bother watching this.
Yeah, he did. I hate to give both Devils their due. It was a good match, and let's just move on from there. I would give the whole show 3 sugars.
Yeah, I would have probably given it 4, except for that last match, which drops it down to a 3 for me.
There we go.
And
I watched the match. I thought it was a good match, and I'm still dropping it down to a 3.
Fair play.
ICW, mate.
ICW. Massive surprise to begin with. BT Gunn versus Talon Jr. Yes, the match had been announced, but nobody guessed what was going to happen during it. Talon Jr. won with a schoolboy. He rolled up BT Gunn, and it was a good match before that with, as you'd expect, BT Gunn just fairly battering Talon Jr. But Talon Jr. did get in some good offense. And yeah, out of nowhere, rolled him up with a schoolboy. BT Gunn was furious. The crowd...
Did BT Gunn nearly kill him like Chris Ridgway nearly killed Michael Oku?
No, but Talon Jr. nearly killed himself with a huge moonsault off the top rope where he unfortunately landed with his leg across the guardrail. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw it happen to begin with, I was like, oh, that looks like that could be a break. But he managed to keep going. So thank God he had thick shin guards on. We're pleased the Luchas wear their thick shin guards. So yeah, that was a big scratch. Oh, I can see a doggy. For those of you listening, this isn't going to work as well, so do make sure you have a look on YouTube because you get to see the gorgeous badger. Right, we then had Kai Williams King taking on Luke Cairo. Kai Williams King came out with King Killer, and what a surprise, the KOE got involved and both started attacking Luke Cairo. While he was on the ground, King posed over him doing a big muscle pose. So out came Adam Maxted. If you're going to pose, do it properly, he says. And it restarts as a tag team match with KOE versus Luke Cairo and Adam Maxted. This is coming on because last week there was an interview section with Luke Cairo where he interviewed Adam Maxted and asked him to be a tag team, and Maxted said no. Cairo and Killer basically got battered by Maxted, who got to show off some of his absolutely stunning drop kicks. He also hit a beautiful snap German suplex during this match. Adam Maxted really is an all-rounder. He can do everything. He won with a drop kick to King, who then tagged in Luke Cairo, who hit the Kyroscope, 1, 2, 3. There was a handshake between the winning team, but not a hug. Adam Maxted wouldn't hug him. He was happy to handshake, he wouldn't give him a hug. Next was Saqib Ali versus Logan Smith, and they had about 2 moves each before out came Aaron Echo and beat both men down, and that was the end of the match. It was thrown out to no contest. Aaron Echo then did a 5-minute rambling promo where he said pretty much nothing. I know I'm meant to be positive, but that was just a waste of time. The 9-9 then were back to take on Thatcher's Cabinet for the ICW Tag Team Championships. I really wanted Thatcher's Cabinet to win. I shouldn't on so many levels, but I really wanted Thatcher's Cabinet. The idea of them with the belts would just be wonderful.
I love the 9-9 as a tag team. Technically, the better team, wrestling team, would certainly be Thatcher's Cabinet, being Skinner and Charlie Vice. But
yeah, and they were relying on their technical skills throughout the match, and it was very good. Vice got isolated by the 9-9 quite a bit. Thatcher, right? He actually interfered from the outside.
Never.
I know, it's hard to believe. Anyway, the ending came when the cabinet had divers held back. He was about to be hit with the book, and out came DCT to interrupt. While they were looking at what was going on with DCT, Charlie Vice got grabbed by the 9-9 and hit with their jumping double stomp to the chest move. And that was the 1-2-3. But this wasn't the end, because afterwards, as Thatcher's cabinet retreated, out came the Kings of the North to put down their stamp on the fact that they want to be taking on the belts. Oh my God, I knew Corvin was big. Okay, but he dwarfed Morris. This is going to be such a great match. You've got Dickie Divers versus Bonesaw as they squared up, and those two look like they're going to have an absolute cracker. You've got the two big muscle men and Morris. It's everything I want. I can't wait for this match.
That's a match even I will want to definitely check out.
Yeah. We then had LJ Cleary versus Leighton Buzzard versus Andy Wilde versus a mystery opponent as the other four-way match to determine who is going to take on Kes Evans for the heavyweight championship. And our mystery opponent was Jackson. Jackson being a former ICW champion who hasn't wrestled for a number of years. And even the crowd didn't seem particularly behind Jackson as he came out. This is a hard one to try and give a full explanation to, but basically, in order of eliminations, LJ Cleary hit a destroyer on Buzzard for the 1-2-3. Cleary was limping badly after that. Jackson grabbed him, huge shoulder breaker. Then Wilde hit him with dab bomb, 1-2-3. So it's down to the big boys, Andy Wilde and Jackson, for the final two. This was a proper hoss fight, pushing, shoving, slapping, hitting, everything you like from a heavyweight match. In the end, however, Jackson locked on the crossface, managed to hook both arms, Wilde passed out, and Jackson is taking on Kes Evans for the heavyweight championship. And for me, this is I'm not massively impressed. As far as Fear and Loathing goes, there's some great matches on the card. No two ways about that. But having Jackson versus Kes Evans for the heavyweight championship, that doesn't draw me in.
No, that's, Andy Wilde probably would have been the better choice.
Without doubt would have been the better choice. Or Leighton Buzzard, or LJ Cleary.
In fact, yeah, actually, out of all of those guys, I think I would have probably given it to Cleary. But I guess he hasn't been on a strong enough role.
I'm happy for Kes Evans to be the champion. I've got no problems with that. But at least put him against someone that I think stands a chance of beating him.
I guess it's just so he can take down any ICW original.
Yeah, I guess. But
anyway, let's move on. Oh, sorry. Give us your score, and then we'll move on to the Brit Wres roundup.
Overall, I'll give this 2.5.
Not high scores from us this week. I'm sure we'll be checking stuff out on Powered 4 TV. I believe Catch Night 1 Block Bs are available. Hopefully, they'll get Block A available as well by the end of the week. Hopefully another Rev Pro UK show. I haven't seen anything from Progress. Of course, we'll bring you the NXT UK results and see what we got. Oh, of course, we'll be watching some live wrestling as well. So the guys will be telling you about that. Let's get on to the Brit Wres roundup so we can talk about it.
Yes, let's. Should we start with Wrestle Carnival?
Wrestle Carnival, yes, some huge announcements for Wrestle Carnival's final show of the year, Carnival Mania. So match announcements including Joe See Me and Lion Kid versus Charles Crowley.
This was after Charles Crowley demanded a one-on-one match.
Indeed. Sean Custom, Miles Kamen and Nathan Cruz versus Will Cruz, Powerhouse Blake and Brady Phillips. That's a muscle team there.
Yeah. I feel sorry for the other three because they're going to be battered.
Nathan Cruz, I'm sure he knows how to take the big men down.
Yeah, and Will Cruz knows how to take down everyone.
Exactly. On the other side of the factory, we got Riho, Visage, and Heidi Katrina, as they will be taking on Giselle Shaw, Alexis Falcon, and a person to be confirmed. It was originally scheduled to be Lizzie Evo, but she is no longer available for the show.
Lana Austin will be taking on Alex Windsor, plus the already announced matches of Doug Williams versus Joe Hendry in a pure rules match, Jay Joshua versus Elijah, Chris Ridgway versus Francesco Akira, which I know you desperately want to see.
Yeah, and so that is shaping up quite nicely. You've also got the announcement in the last week that you're got Danny Black, Joe Lando, and a few other guys who haven't been put in matches yet. Zoe Lucas isn't in a match yet. Session of Moth Martina isn't in a match yet. Gonna be a great final show for Wrestle Carnival.
But it's not the final show they've got announced, is it?
No, because they have announced their first show for next year in 2022. It'll be on January the 30th.
It will indeed, and I will be there. I have bought my VIP front row tickets because they were discounted this weekend because I'm cheap. Carnival of Champions is the name of the show. One night, 8 men, 8 women, 2 championships will be decided. How exciting is this? We are going to have Carnival Champions.
Indeed. We talked about this concept with Gary Ward when he was on our show on our special. So definitely go check that out. Really, really looking forward to seeing who are going to be part of that 8. I'm going to guess that Chris Ridgway is going to be in there.
I would assume so. I reckon Jay Joshua will be in there.
Will Cruz, I think, will be a name.
I think the Carnival Twat will be in there.
Yeah, Brady Phillips, Charlie Sterling, maybe.
Yeah, we're up to 6.
Joe Hendry,
Doug Williams,
and
that takes us to 8.
As for the women, Giselle Shaw, Alexis Falcon,
Session Moth,
Heidi Katrina, Riho, Mercedes Blaze, Chantel Jordan. They've had quite a few women performers through there, so it's going to be very, very interesting. Alex Windsor, I'm sure, will be there.
And that takes us to 8.
Oh, there we go. Forgot about Charlie Morgan as well, so it'll be interesting to see who are the names that come out of the hat. Speaking of fantastic women's wrestling, we got Pro Wrestling Eve, who are back on the 6th of November at Signature Brew in London with Fight for Ourselves. The first half of the show will be free and live on YouTube.
Ooh.
Matches include Casey Owens versus Alex Windsor for the International Championship, a 4-way scramble with Charlie Morgan, Lana Austin, Riho, and Chantel Jordan, Laura Di Matteo versus Mercedes Blaze, Ava White versus Session Moth Martina, and Jetta versus Emma Sin Jane.
I think that is a very good looking card.
Indeed, some great matches lined up.
I'm almost tempted to check my calendar.
Indeed. Pride Pro Wrestling, the first UK independent wrestling promotion.
They've announced their first show, which will be at the 229 in London. The show will include talents such as Cassius, Benjamin Harland, Jason Joshua, Priscilla, Laura Di Matteo, Harley Hudson, your favourite, Reese Ryan, Brad Slayer, Rebel Kinney, and Adam Bolt. Indeed. Lots of fantastic competitors. 100% behind Pride Pro Wrestling. Definitely think it will be a fantastic show. So many incredible talents. Go on.
PCW are at Blackpool Tower on the 19th of November, where you can see former WWE superstar Chris Masters. So far, matches announced include Leighton Buzzard versus Dean Allmark for the Cruiserweight Championship. Somehow, Sheik Sham and Simon Miller versus Yeston Reese and Will Cruz, and Roy Johnson versus Jack Morris. as well. That should be a really good match. Two big beefy blokes who are going to be slapping meat. I mean, Dean Allmark might have been a cruiserweight at one point.
Yeah.
Sorry,
At one
Dean.
point.
You're an amazing competitor. You're not a cruiserweight, no. UKPW are in Faversham on the 31st of October for Tables, Ladders and Scares, where you'll have a six-man ladder match for the interregional title. Buff Broadside, the champion, versus KM Lane versus Truman Roswell versus Maverick Mayhew versus Callie Gray versus Danny Black, plus the UKPW women's semi-final championship tournaments. Ava White versus Kyra Kamara, Evie Madden versus Livy Grace. Two Good Eggs, Rex Armstrong and JJ Lynch take on BDSM, Charles Crowley and Clementine. Roy Johnson and David Francisco, and another big slapping heavyweight competition. Tommy Kyle versus Mike Bird, and Alexander Roth versus RJ Singh. Great show lined up.
Indeed. Southwest Wrestling return to the Stroud, not to the Stroud, to Stroud, for Ballroom Blitz on the 14th of November. Great name for a show. Charlie Sterling will be wrestling RKJ. Ooh, that will be good. Eddie Ryan versus JD Knight. The Boys, Flynn Burden and Buzzsaw Bronson versus CW Davis and Brett Semtex. And LJ Cleary versus Nick Riley have all been announced so far.
That's going to be right. LJ Cleary versus Nick Riley. That's going to be an awesome match.
Wrestle Island.
Mm-hmm.
December the 19th at the Island Squid Games. Inspired their red light, green light show. Let me put that in there. On December the 19th at the Islands, Squid Game have inspired their red light, green light show, and we'll be seeing Harley Hudson, Dan Evans, Big T, Warren Banks, Cameron Solis, Hustle Malone, Sid and Eden von England. Nice to see them back in the UK.
Yeah, really good to see them guys back in the UK. Purpose Wrestling at Puppies Are Forever on December 10th. Puppies Are Forever, always remember that. We'll have a tag team action as Rex Armstrong and JJ Lynch, Two Good Eggs, take on RJ Singh and Jordan Saeed.
We then have Reach Wrestling, who are in St Austell on Saturday the 13th of November. Nick Riley will be taking on Lee Hunter. Kian Fox and Big Country versus Lance Cole and Lucian Phillips. Jim Dyher versus Grayson Reeves. Amadeus versus Jordan Sparks versus Joe Costa Academy. And that's a championship match. Jordan Sparks, the current champion. LA Taylor will be taking on Sky Smithson. That will be a really good match. And Ruby will be taking on Aurora.
Indeed. Again, for trainees out there, when this match is out, go find it. Nick Riley versus Lee Hunter will be incredible. Catch Pro Wrestling Night 2 of the Enigma series takes place tonight or this past Monday, depending on when you are hearing this or watching this. In Block A, 2-Bit, currently on 0 points, will be taking on Joe Kessler, currently on 0 points. Tom Farewell on 2 points. Will be taking on Dynamite Lee, who is also in 2 points. One of these guys could put themselves in proper competition to be going through to the next round. In Block B, Kevin Lloyd on 2 points will be taking on Keenan on 0 points. And Joey Hayes, 0 points, will be taking on Scotty Rourke on 2 points. Plus Scott Oberman versus Chris Egan. Lycos Jim versus Ethan Allen and Chris Ridgway. You can currently catch the action of Block B of Night 1 on Powered 4 TV, plus the main event of that show, which was Chris Ridgway and Ethan Allen, which is free to watch on YouTube. Cash Pro have also announced that at Catch 4 Capture, Alexis Falcon will face Chantel Jordan, and this is added to the already announced Lizzie Evo versus Riho for the Catch Women's Championship.
Odyssey Pro Wrestling's next show is in Blackpool on the 20th of November as they present Peer Fear. This is set to feature JJ Webb, Big Guns Joe, Lizzie Evo, Gia Adams, 2-Bit, Sandy Beach, and Ryan Hunter, plus a triple threat tag teams TLC match. Or tables, ladders, and chairs. I think you're allowed to have tables, ladders, and chairs, but TLC is actually copyrighted. Reese and Rogan, Wrecking Ball Reese and Big Hoss Hogan versus Synergy, Troy Ryan and Anderson Daniels versus Born Ready, RP Davis and Rick Marcus. I hope they've reinforced those ladders.
Yeah.
OPW are back in Morecambe with Buried Treasure on the 4th of December. And that is set to feature Alexis Falcon, Lizzie Evo, Sam Bailey, Tonga, Rick Marcus, Gia Adams, Ryan Hunter, and 2-Bit.
Yeah, great little company. Spirit Wrestling are back in Sheffield. They've announced their first match for Redo on the 21st of November as Chantel Jordan faces Ivy.
DOA Wrestling are back in Bury St Edmunds on the 27th of December with Sugar Beat Down. Also announcing their longest reigning DOA UK Women's Champion, Madison Miles, will defend against the returning 2-times champion, the Voodoo Queen, Amara.
Target Wrestling are back in Carlisle at the Stanton on the 27th of November, and they'll be bringing Josh Terry, or Josh Morrell, Big Damo, Martin Kirby, Shady Actress, Damon Havoc, Owen Michaels, and Sammy Sparks.
Ooh.
Now, you're special.
Yeah, Rumble Wrestling. I am going along to Rumble Wrestling on Friday night, and I am very excited. Rumble will be at the Kemsley Village Hall in Sittingbourne this Friday for the finals at the Mal Mason British Lightweight Championships as Maverick Mayhew faces Nino Bryan. I genuinely don't know who's going to win this one. I'm very excited to see who the special guest referee is.
The special guest referee is Steve Gray.
Yep. And this match is going to be an 8-round British rules match. So that is going to be brilliant. There's also going to be a special lumberjack match as the double champion Tate Mayhew defends his belt against Sid Manelli.
You've also got Mr. USA versus Ollie Pierce, Trashman versus Hakan, TWA versus the Dorman. I really want an interview. I would really love a chance to speak to Steve Gray. He is an absolute legend who 30 years ago to the day of that show defended the British Lightweight Championship.
I will do my best to go and meet Mr. Gray. I will do my absolute best.
Get a photo with him and just tell him, yeah, because we've always wanted somebody who actually truly knows a lot more about the British history. I'd love to do a show that focuses on the history of British wrestling. And Steve Gray is one of those people I'd love to speak to. He's bound to have so much knowledge. And I'd love to get his thoughts on the new UK scene. So hopefully you listen to this, Steve, and hopefully you listen to Daniel when he sees you. And we would absolutely 100% love to speak to you about all of what I just mentioned. Ultimate British Wrestling, where Stephen will be.
He will indeed. They're in Stopfold this weekend for Hurricane Rana. I have seen posters up all around my hometown for this show. It's going to feature the Heavyweight Heartbreakers versus Sass Central, Andrew Riley and Sassy Bear Clarence in a tag team championship match. Truman Roswell will take on Jack Landers. Spike Valentine versus Carl Atlas, the British Championship match. Smashing Mike, who is currently the Young Lions champion, will be taking on Percy Traynor. And David Grant versus Adonis Payne, and Sunset Skip versus RJ Singh.
Oh, Jack will be disappointed that there's no Charles Crowley this time, but he's going to have the absolute pleasure of seeing RJ Singh in action.
He was a big fan of Smashing Mike, so I think he'll be looking forward to Smashing Mike beating Percy Traynor, who he gave a lot of abuse to last week.
Oh, terrible. Charity wrestling promotions are in Southampton at the Novotel on the 7th of November, so go check them out. All funds raised go to raised towards charitable donations.
It was a cancer charity, wasn't it? Whose name has completely skipped my mind.
Indeed, mine too. But you'll have Damien versus Johnny Storm versus Ian Logan, Bobby Vegas versus Rudy Brute, Eddie Kenway and Roderick the Rambunctious for the CWP No Limit Championship match. Robbie Nitro versus Jackson Arrow. Cameron Anderson versus Dirty Dave Dennis versus Frankie D versus Jake Hollister versus Aaron Cruz versus Ebenezer the Geezer. You've also got an international match of Franco Varga representing the USA versus Joel Redman, who will be representing the UK, plus a 13-man and woman over-the-top battle royal that will feature TNT favorite Amber Joe.
Body Slam Wrestling. Session Moff Martina and Doug Williams are confirmed in Copenhagen, where they will be competing for Body Slam on the 19th of November. Wrestlers working with this will include Endakara, Francesco Akira, Emeritus, Michael Flynn, Carlos Zamora, and the tag team Randerspang, which is Adonis and Xander.
I think it would probably be pronounced Randerspagni. I believe it stands for Randy Party.
Excellent. I love a Randy Party.
And we started with them, so we will finish with them, TNT Extreme, because the day after Extreme Fields is the TNT Ignition show, Little Shop of Horrors, which takes place on the 31st of October, as just mentioned. JJ Webb and Scott Oberman versus Tom Thelwell and Cameron Solis. Previously announced Jace Alexander versus Gene Money, RP Davey versus Drill, Big Guns Joe versus Shreddy, Gia Adams versus Tonga, Brian Aderson versus Simon Miller versus Synergies. Oh, sorry, Brian Aderson and Simon Miller versus Synergy, Troy Ryan and Anderson Daniels, plus an Ultra X Championship match. And finally, they've also announced that tickets are now on sale for Cold Day of Hell, which will be on the 25th of November. A new TNT Extreme champion will be crowned in the main event, which will be a fatal four-way. So far qualified are Dan Maloney and Nathan Cruz. Joining them will be either Chris Ridgway or Dean Allmark, depending on who wins the Extreme Fields. And one final competitor that has yet to be named. And we've got a beautiful little kitty cat on screen. Oh, it's gone.
Yes, we've just rehomed this one. Just rehomed this one. So yeah, this is looking to be another great week of British wrestling, and some great British news coming up as well. So yeah, hooray!
I think it's just going to be fantastic. Don't forget to tune in to us next week for more British wrestling news, British wrestling reviews, and British wrestling previews.
We also have news.
We have news.
We have another interview coming up.
We do.
A special interview with a leading name in British wrestling, but it's not a wrestler and it's not a promoter. It is, in fact, the leading independent British referee, Mr. Chris Hatch.
I'm going to quiz him about wrestling rules so hard, you realise that?
You're going to be so frustrating about your rules and about your tag ropes and about your blind tags and about your under-the-top rope tags.
Not my rules. These are the rules that are stated in, and I would love to talk to him. Because literally, I know the rules have to be adapted and changed these days. But who's actually gone out there and done this? Are there individual rule books that are given by promoters to tell them what the rules are? Because so many different promotions have so many different rules, it just gets a bit silly. I just like continuity and I like rules.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing some amazing stories because know for the number of matches that Chris Hatch has officiated, he's going to have some brilliant stories for us to hear. And I also know that he's already thinking about his Mount Rushton of British wrestlers.
Oh, that's good to know because that's one of our favourite questions. And yeah, as I say, I hope he watches this one so he knows he's going to get quizzed on wrestling rules. I'm going to find the traditional rule book.
What we're going to do with you, Andy.
With that said, we have been TNT, a Great British Wrestling podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this show and we hope you join us next week for more British wrestling. Until then, remember, folks, don't
feed the trolls.